Hello guys, today's video is going to be something very different. I think I'm going to incorporate this in my channel this year because I watched two of my favorite YouTubers. One is Tina Marie. I will link her channel down below. You guys know I love her. And then somebody who I recently found, her name is Tiff J Chloe, I'll be there in a second. Her name is Tiff J, and then I don't remember the last part of that, but I will link both of their channels down below. They did something called an anti-haul, and I've never seen this before, and I think that this is such a great idea. It's basically sharing with you guys all the things that I'm not buying, which is great because I'm on my no buy, so I'm trying not to buy a lot of products, but let's just get into it. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is kind of going to be like a rant, so if you don't like videos like that, you might want to click off. I'm gonna start this by saying I'm someone who really does not like to try a lot of indie brands. If it's not sold in like Sephora or Ulta or what have you, I don't like to shop those type of brands just because I feel like Sephora is like the best of the best to me, not because I used to work there, but I've always loved Sephora. So before YouTube, actually, I never bought makeup outside of Sephora and Ulta, really. So that sets the stage for what I'm going to talk about. But I have a whole list in my phone of things that I am not here for this year and that I will not be buying. A couple of these items will be items that other people have talked about because I just think collectively people are just not here for them. The first one is going to be MAC collections. You guys know how I feel about MAC. There are certain items from MAC that I like, but I don't like to shop MAC, and it all started with the Rodarte collection back when I was in college. MAC I'm not here for you. The whole debacle with the Mariah Carey collection, I'm definitely not here for that. I know that was restocked a couple of times, but I'm just not here for brands who make you feel like you have to stay up until 5 a.m. searching on the computer to see when things are live. Like, I'm not here for it. Either you make enough products for everyone, which I believe they did from the beginning. They weren't 2 weeks later or a week later in the lab cooking up new products. They weren't. Either put out enough for us to buy, or I'm not gonna buy it. There were a couple products that I purchased last year that were very hyped up, like the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, and I just got that by the grace of God. But I'm not here for MAC collections anymore. They're too limited, and it's mainly just packaging you're paying for, and I'm just not here for it. I would rather spend my coin on something that I know is gonna be there in another month when it runs out. The second thing is the Huda Beauty palette. Now, I know people really love this palette. I'm not getting it. I'm sorry. It looks really, really pretty, but from what I've seen, you have to do too much stuff to make it work. And I don't know if you guys have caught on to this, but I don't necessarily like spending a lot of time doing my makeup. So if I have to use a glitter base, a wet brush, Fix Plus, or something else, that just takes too much time. And I don't really want to spend that much time doing makeup. And I think this palette is like $65 or something. You know, I'm kind of at the point where, well, one, I don't need any palettes, but my maximum for a palette is about $50. But the Huda Beauty palette, I like your lippies, Huda. I'm not here for the palette. The third thing is the Natasha Nonna palette. You guys, I'm gonna be posting pictures of these items. That palette is over $200. As much as I love makeup, I cannot bring myself to spend that much on a palette. I don't care if the shadows apply themselves. I don't know. I just feel like there are other brands out there that have nice quality shadows to where you don't have to spend an arm and a leg. And then it's like a palette really is only supposed to last a year or so, you know, hygienically speaking. So yeah, that's one of those things where if somebody got it for me, I would appreciate it, but I will never spend that much on an eyeshadow palette. No, absolutely not. The fourth thing, Glanville Masks. Now, I'm not saying that Glanville Masks aren't good, but I am just, and I know this may seem kind of weird, but I don't like spending a lot of money on masks. I think the most expensive one I have is by Ulla Henriksen, and it's about $42. And that to me is kind of pushing it. I kind of have this way I feel about skincare. I'll pay money for a moisturizer, but I'm not gonna pay for a mask or a cleanser because those are things you take off. I just feel like if I'm gonna pay my $60, I need that baby to stay on my face from the time I get up to when I wash it off at night, which ends up being a cleanser. So the Glanville masks, I have tried them and I think that they are great, but unless they go on a 50% off sale, I'm not buying them. I know everybody loves them, but they are just out of my price range as far as how I look at the cost per use. I guess that's what you can call it. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop numbering them because I'm gonna get confused. Next is the Sweet Peach collection. Now, like I said, I did get this palette last year when it came out. I actually went to a Sephora inside JCPenney and asked for it before it even hit the shelving, and that was the last one they had. So that means this palette sold out before they could redo the gondolas, which are the little shelves at Sephora. So how is anybody supposed to get their hands on it? And now they have a whole collection, and quite honestly, the collection is pretty, but I think none of those shades really look like shades that will be suitable to a darker skin tone, and I'm not even the darkest shade. So I like to support brands that keep everyone in mind. I think having a peach themed collection is nice, but I don't really even see it showing up on my skin tone, so I'm not gonna purchase it. I have seen a couple of the lip glosses. Now they do look nice, but I think they're lip oil gels, which to me means that it's gonna wear off quickly, and I just think that that's a waste of money. So yeah, I'm not here for the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette collection, what have you. Now we're kind of gonna segue into the next category, limited edition palettes. And I'm specifically talking about brands like Too Faced, Tarte, and I think that's about it. So a lot of the times you will find that a palette that is permanent from Tarte, such as the Tartelette in Bloom, that looks like this, these shadows are gonna be higher quality than some of the holiday collection palettes. And I think that companies spend too much money on pretty packaging so that they can send their top influencers on vacations. Yes. And I would rather have basic, I mean, this is not basic, but I'd rather have more basic packaging and a higher quality product inside than pretty packaging but a product that's crappy. And that is my experience from swatching the holiday palettes from last year in Sephora. I was just like, I'm not gonna waste my money on this palette. Now, when Anastasia does a limited edition palette, she does her thing, but I think a lot of the other brands really just spend too much time on pretty packaging. Now, I like the aesthetic of a product, but really it's about what's inside. So I'm not really going to be shopping a lot of limited edition products, palettes, anything. I find that a lot of the time they are very gimmicky and the quality is not up to par with the permanent collection items. Okay, next. We're gonna stay in the same category. I'm not here for a lot of these palettes or items that are in collaboration with a lot of influencers or a lot of the beauty gurus on YouTube. I do have Makeup Shayla's contour palette and I love that. I don't use it as much as I probably should, but that's because I'm not big into contouring. But I find that just as the other limited edition products, I find that they put too much money and time into making it look pretty, or they're paying too much money trying to pay off the influencer and you're not really getting a great product. And of the ones I've seen, they're not really brown girl friendly except Makeup Shayla's palette. And yeah, I'm not gonna buy something if the quality or pigmentation or what have you is not there. So I'm not here for a lot of those collections. I know this probably sounds like I'm being so negative, but I'm just really not. Like, I give props to people who make it to a point in their makeup career where they can collaborate with brands. I think that's awesome. But even looking at the reviews of some of those products, you guys don't like them either. So I don't think I'm alone in that. The next is going to be contour palettes. Now, like I said, I don't use my Makeup Shayla contour palette by Tarte too much because I have a round face. I don't tend to contour that much. It's just a personal preference. I know contouring was not so big last year, but the year before when I was still working at Sephora, I believe contour was all the rage. Now, my feeling about a contour palette, and which is why I will probably never get a contour palette or really a highlight palette, because who is really going to use all those shades? Now, I know you can break the palette down and use them as eyeshadows, blushes, what have you, but if I get a palette, I always always like to use at least 75% of it. So if it's a face palette and I can't use it on my complexion, I'm not gonna buy it. So that goes with highlighting palettes, anything like that. I just rather buy the individual product. The next thing, this is gonna be controversial. Morphe brushes, Morphe palettes. I will leave Stephanie Nicole's video all about Morphe down below. Basically, I don't know if you guys are hip to it, but this lip gloss or lip formula could be made in China, and people could be private labeling it so that I can have my own and I can call this Keiko Beauty lip paint and Nars can call it Matte Velvet Lip Glide. So you will find that a lot of the brushes from Morphe are not specific to only Morphe. They're specific to Crown Royal or I don't know, Coastal Scents. Like they're in those other brands, not specific to them, but they're in those other brands. So yeah, I'm not gonna spend more on a product because it's more widely known, opposed to when I can go directly to the source and buy a product and get it for a cheaper, like and then Morphe has a couple of brand practices that I just don't agree with. But yeah, you will never see a Morphe product on my channel unless somebody that I know gets it from me, because I don't think that I'll ever spend my money on that. And then segueing into the next thing that's on my list, because I already know, Kylie Cosmetics. In general, I don't have a favorable opinion about the Kardashians. Now, I love Khloe, that's my girl, and this is how I feel with a lot of other smaller brands that are put out by someone who's very popular or well known. I want to buy from a brand who takes their time to do research and really focusing on the product, not just Beyonce endorsing something, you know? So that's how I feel with Kylie's cosmetic line. I won't lie, I've seen some people do reviews on the lip glosses and they look bomb, but I'd rather buy an Anastasia lip gloss than a Kylie one. So I will never buy it with my own money. I saw on Instagram today that she's coming out with highlighters. I will not be here for that. No, thank you. You will never see that in a haul on my channel. This is turning into a really like negative rant. I didn't mean for it to sound like this, but I don't know. The next thing is this silly sponge thing. And like I said, I was also on Instagram and I saw that there's a product coming out like it, but that's in the shape of a beauty blender. I just think last year was the year of gimmicks. Like every time I looked on my timeline, there was a video of somebody using a fork to contour or like, you know, something completely ridiculous, and it's just like, come on, I'm not here for the gimmicks. The beauty blender works fabulously. If you don't want to spend $20, I think there are some at the drugstore now. Real Techniques has one, but I'm not using silicone on my face, and even when I've seen the reviews, it doesn't even apply too nicely. So yeah, I won't be trying any gimmicky products. The last company is Jeffree Star for reasons that you probably already know, so I'm not gonna get into that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this rant slash anti makeup haul. I think this was so fun, even though there was one skincare item in there. Like if you guys notice, I don't tend to go out and get a lot of hyped products. Everything that comes out, I don't need it, even if it's a little different from something that I have. I just don't feel the need to get it. And then if it falls into this lovely category, I won't be getting it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've done one, let me know so I can go watch it, because I love to laugh and I think these videos are so funny. So yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.